I'm George Pearson, and these are just a few examples from some of the training videos I have here on YouTube. Now, when you're working with the training, following along the training, if you want to get the materials I used in the training, just go to the description down below and click on the link that's at the top of the description, and this will take you to a page where you can download the materials. Please subscribe, click the like button, and of course always share on Facebook, Twitter, or wherever. I really appreciate that. Okay, let's go ahead and get started with the video. In this Photoshop Elements video, we'll be making this Happy St. Patrick's Day card here. Everything here is done inside of Photoshop Elements. There are no new tricks, images, anything brought in here. The main thing I want to be showing you here, a couple basic tricks. One is giving this 3D effect in here, kind of a 3D cutout effect. The other one here is this double outline with a shadow on the text. Also, it's an interesting way of doing kind of a patterned background. Okay, a few new things here to take a look at. Some other stuff that we've looked at in other videos in the past. Okay, let's go ahead and get this out of the way, and we'll start on a brand new file to get this going. We'll be making this file at the default size, so new blank file, and we'll do this at the again default Photoshop Elements size, which is width of 6, height of 4, and a resolution of 300 pixels per inch. Let's just give this one a name here. St. Patrick's Day for 2017. And the first card I'm doing here for this year, so I'll give it this 2017A as my title. There we go. We'll just have this docked in our docked window. All right. We'll start off on this one by making our shamrock shape in here. Now, do that by using graphics. Go over here to the graphics button, bottom right hand corner. Open up our graphics. Here we go. Look at this by type and by shapes. So it's by type and shapes. I'm a little low here on where I want to be, so I'll scroll up to find the heart shapes. Here we go. There are two basic heart shapes. Well, three counting that one. We'll be using this one here. Now, if I hover for a second, it just says heart on it. So that's the basic heart shape. Now, the color I want, not that. Let me change my color here. Click on the color icon. And I want a little bit brighter green in here. So I'll just type in the number that I used on my sample that we saw just a moment ago. It's 4CD30B. So it's just kind of a bright green. Anything up here, upper right hand corner, see I'm right down here, about a third of the way into the greens from the bottom. And anything up in here is fine on this, just kind of a nice bright green. I took it just a little way off of full brightness. Choose OK. And then we have our green selected. That's good. And then click in here to fill that with that new green color. Okay, so that gives us a basic heart shape. We'll be using this basic heart shape to create our shamrock shape. Let's put it up here just a little bit. And let's go back to our layers. There it is. You can leave this as a shape right now. Now take this and duplicate this twice. So pull it up here once and pull it up again. Gives us 3 copies, and let's just pull those to the side like this. So 3 copies side by side. We now need to rotate this one and this one. So click on anywhere here. The corner is good. Click on that little corner. And when you do that, it brings up the transform tool options down here. If you're seeing the photo bin, just click on tool options. So transform, and then on your degrees down here, type in 120, and then rotates that around 120. On this one, over here, that's that shape right there. We'll rotate this also, same thing, just click on the little corner right there and then set this one at -120, so it's the opposite of the other one, and that rotates that around. The reason why I did that as 120 is because going a full circle is 360 degrees, so if you divide that by 3, it gives you 120. Now take these and then just position them like that, and that's this one, and position that right down here. If you want to, you can tap up and over a little bit on this one and then up over on that one. So it comes in and they're just basically and barely touching in the middle right there. So we have our basic 3 layers. If you want to be able to come back and modify these again later, you want to keep these 3 layers. So we'll do that. I'll hold down the Shift key, top one selected, hold the Shift key, click on the bottom of these green shapes. Make a duplicate of those shapes. There we go. Here's our duplicates. And then hide the originals. That way you can always go back to those originals if you want to change this in the future. So you have those as a working set. Now on these 3 here, choose the top, hold the Shift key, and then choose the bottom of that copy set. We're going to merge these together. So right click and merge shapes. There we go, just like that. Okay, they'll now act as one piece. They're kind of locked together by merging them onto just that one layer. We now need the stem in here. We'll do the stem also by using a graphic. So back to our graphics. And this time we're going to be scrolling down. I'm using the wheel on my mouse right now. We'll just scroll down. And there's a thing down here, kind of 3 wavy lines. There's a couple of different ones. Here we go. It's 4 wavy lines and 3 wavy lines. If I hover for a second, it says River 2. Double click on that, and that brings that in. Now we'll be using just part of this top one here. So using that. Okay, back to our layers. To use that, I need to be able to get rid of these 2 over here. So to do that, right click where it says Shape 2, that's that shape. And then we're going to simplify that layer. There we go. Now I can use the magic wand, and I can select the bottom one, hit the delete key, there it goes. Select the next one up, hit the delete key, and then you can either hit that again to deselect, go up to select and deselect right now. That leaves us with that one little bit. Now I want to bring this into that nice curve that we had. So I'm going to pull this in to the left, and it gives us that kind of a curve right there. So I just pulled it in about halfway or so, maybe a little more, and then let's stretch that up and pull it out just a bit, and that gives us that nice swooping curve that we had. You can adjust this to adjust your thickness up at the top there to get just the right amount, but I'm thinking, oh, about like that's pretty good. Notice how it's kind of hiding in behind the leaf. That's fine. Choose OK. There we go. So far so good. We have our swoop and we have our leaves in here. Let's now rename this one. I'm going to convert this. So right click and let's simplify that layer. And let's rename this one Shamrock. There we go. And then let's rename this one Stem. Just like that, because Shamrock and Stem. We can now merge these 2 layers together. So hold the Shift key down, click on the Shamrock and the Stem here. Right click and we'll merge those layers. Notice how the merge layers goes to the top name on that layer. Interesting little thing that happens is the top name. So let's just rename this one then Shamrock. I could have renamed it after I merged it. I wanted to show you that one little bit there about how this program behaves. Okay, here's our Shamrock right there. There's our Shamrock graphic. That's all done. We now need to do our outline on this thing. So take this layer, drag up to our new layer button, just like that. That's our copy. This will be our outline. And on this one, we'll be using a layer style. So go up here to Layer, come down to Layer Style and Style Settings. You want the stroke setting. Now make sure that this is set for inside. And then bring the size up a bit. So it's kind of about like that. You know, somewhere in here. I'm just visually finding that. I'm using 24, 25, anywhere in there is okay. We want to have this a dark green. So click on the color swatch. Come into the middle of the greens here someplace, and then about halfway down. And that gives you a darker green outline. Choose OK. It doesn't matter exactly what, as long as it's darker, you know, obviously darker than the middle section. And choose OK. Now, I need to get rid of this inside light green on this layer. If I hide this Shamrock layer, what we're seeing here is the outline. Is this plus the outline is all on the one layer. Now to get rid of that, right click and simplify the layer again, and that gets rid of the effects, the layer styles. It has now merged the layer style into the graphics. It's all just one graphic. Now that it's one graphic, we can use the magic wand and then just delete those. So just click inside, hit the delete key and do that for wherever that light green is showing. There we go, and then select deselect. So we now have that outline. Now if I bring the Shamrock back up again, there we go. There's the Shamrock and there's the outline. We're now going to be putting in our 3D effect on this, and that is done by making lots of duplicates of this layer. But before we do that, we need to have another layer effect on this. Go up to Layer, come down to Layer Style, Style Settings. Here we go. And on this one, we're going to be putting in a drop shadow this time. And you want the size set at just 1. So it's just 1 on your drop shadow, not too much. And let's change the opacity here to 70%, and let's change the lighting angle over here to about 130, I think. Pretty good. Just upper left hand corner, and choose OK. Now it's kind of hard to see, but there's just a little shadow right along that edge and on the bottom edge down here. Just a little shadow on kind of the right hand side, bottom right hand corner or side of that shape. Now to make a duplicate of this, hold the Alt key down and hit the up button. It makes a copy right there. See that? Now hold the Alt key down, keep the Alt key down, and click on the left button, and makes another copy. And then up button and left button, up button and left button, holding down the Alt key the whole time. And just do a few of those. So I've just done a whole batch. I think I'm a bit too many in here. So let's just come in and we're going to back off just a little bit here. I'm going to take off the top layer, layer 10, and I'll take off layer 9. That looks better. So it's about the same thickness in there. So there we go. That gives us that kind of a 3D effect. Now you want to merge all this stuff down onto that outline layer. So make sure your top one is selected. Hold the Shift key down. Click on the outline right here. So outline and all of the copies are selected. Right click and then merge layers. There's our outline. So there's the original leaf and there's the outline. Here's without the background fill in there. Now if I zoom in on this, you'll be able to see the layers. There they are. So we just come in and just made several copies, just kind of stacked them. But you only see that if you're in real tight. Let's now zoom back out again. Actually, I'm just going to go up here to View and Fit on Screen. There we go. So that gives us that 3D effect. Okay, now let's put that background. We'll do our fancy background at this point. Come down to the background layer. Let's make a new layer above this. Click on the new layer button. There we are. There's our new layer. This will be our green background. We'll be doing 2 layers of this. Now I want to fill this with a gradient. So grab the gradient tool right here. I'm going to set this up here just for one of our default gradients right there, which is the foreground to background color. That's the upper left hand corner. Choose OK. It should be like this at this point. You should have the color that you used inside here, and the background should be white. If it's not, just click on the arrows here and then reset your color right there. Let me show you that real fast. Click on the reset buttons, click on that icon, click on the leaf color that sets that, choose OK, and you're back to that foreground background green to white. Okay, click on that sample and there it is. Now where it says solid up here, or in the gradient editor as you can see right now, where it says solid, change this to noise. It should say roughness 50%, and notice how we have 3 color settings here, red, green, and blue. So take the right hand control here on the red and pull that all the way to the left. Hit the right hand control on blue, pull it all the way to the left. That leaves you just the green. So we have full green and nothing else. Now that's too dark, but our basic coloration is set. Now if you click on randomize, you can go through this a few times until you find something which you like. So you want to have one that's fairly light and has a nice range of streaks in it without any real darks. It may take a few clicks through to find one. So just keep on clicking to find one that you like. Okay, that's pretty good. Kind of a mid-tone now. Now the light parts will be the light part of the background, obviously, and the darks will be the dark parts. So there's the basic thing. Now, it's going to be different on yours than mine because we're using a randomized function, but it'll have the same basic effect. So look for something that's kind of like this kind of midtones with a nice spread of lights and darks across. No real bright brights, no real dark darks. Choose OK. There's the gradient. Now, using the gradient tool, just click outside and drag it straight across. If you hold the Shift key down, notice how that makes it a perfectly straight across line. Let go, and it gives us that gradient. There it is. Now take that layer, drag it up onto our new layer button up here, and it gives you a copy of that. Now click on any of our control handles on that copy. The bottom right hand corner is the one that I normally use. And on angle down here, set this at 90 degrees and choose OK. So that just rotates that around. And then grab the control handles on the side here and pull that until it is the same width as the background. It should snap right to those edges for you. So there we now have these two layers in here at 90 degrees. Now on the top one, we'll be changing the blend mode up here to difference. Way down towards the bottom, click on difference. Gives us that. And then we'll change the opacity up here to 80%. There we are. You can adjust this if you want to lighten this up or darken it down by using right above this one an adjustment layer on this. So let's go up here to Layer, New Adjustment Layer, and let's do a levels on that. And don't check this time. Now this will be changing everything that's below this adjustment layer, so don't check that. Choose OK. Here's our adjustment layer. You can now use the middle control here if you want to lighten up or darken down that background, whatever you feel like doing right there. So that gives you that control. It's that middle one to darken down or lighten that up, whatever is pleasing to your eye on this one. Okay, there it is. That's the background patterning. Let's now go back and we'll put in the sides here on our leaves. So back to our Shamrock right there. Grabbing the magic wand, make sure that contiguous is checked right there. That means that everything has to be touching, and make sure that new is selected over here. Now what I want to do is to select just the green part that's showing inside here. So to get that, let's go up here to the outline and then click in the green area. That makes that selection. What we're actually doing is we are selecting the transparent area inside of that outline. Okay, so that one's selected. Now come down to the Shamrock layer and go over to this tool here, the polygonal lasso tool, and choose subtract right there on the lasso tool. And what I want to do is I want to take off the right hand side. So click just outside the bottom point here and then drag up and then click around like this and back down to the bottom point, and then make sure that's connected. Double click if it's not quite connected, and that subtracts that right hand side from the overall shape. I now want to make this darker in here, so we'll go over here to our color picker and we're going to change the color down here to a darker color, and you can just come down and find something which is a bit darker and use this as your concept in here. So this is the right hand side, this will be the left hand side. Just want to have a nice variation. You don't want it as dark as this outer outline, but you want it darker than that. So somewhere around in here looks pretty good to my eye. So if I kind of compare that visually, that's lighter than that, and obviously it's darker than that. Choose OK. Now grab the paint bucket and click inside on the Shamrock, and there we go. We can then deselect. So select and deselect. That's that one. Let's do the same thing for the other two leaves. So back to the magic wand, back to the outline, click in here, back to the Shamrock layer. This time we'll be removing the upper part of this, so back to our polygonal lasso tool, click outside, kind of like right in the middle here, click and then pull that straight down through. Click outside like that, and then come back to the beginning, or double click, and that deletes that side, leaving just this side. Back to the paint bucket, Color is already set, and click in there, and that's that one. Deselect. One more time on this side. So magic wand, back to the outline layer, click inside, back to the Shamrock layer, back to the polygonal lasso tool, click in the middle here, drag it right through like that, and I want to remove the bottom part of it this time. So we kind of go around the bottom part, back to the beginning, removes that, leaves this, back to the paint bucket, click inside, and then select and deselect. Okay, so far so good. That looks really nice. Now I want to put that glow in behind this. I'm going to pull it over a little bit too. Oops, I forgot to grab those two layers, undo that move. Let's lock these two layers together. So hold the Control key down or Shift key at this point. Either one works. Bring those together like that. And then click on either one of these two icons. And that locks those together, kind of linked together. Now if I grab this, it'll move the whole thing, just like that. Allows us to reposition that without losing anything. So over here a little bit. Now back to the Shamrock layer, the bottom layer here, and we're going to put in a glow around this. So layer, layer style, style settings, and glow. We want an outer glow. There we are. We can bring the glow up like that. See, there's kind of the glow in behind, but we're not really seeing that yet. So let's change the opacity here all the way to the top to 100%. Let's set the size about 65 to 67. Anywhere in here is good. And let's change this. There's a little white square here. Click on that and change this to a yellow. There we go. Now any yellow, bright yellow will do just fine on this one. You see there's the bright glass. Click right in the middle of the yellows and top right hand corner, nice bright yellow. Choose OK. And then you can adjust the size if you want to get just the right amount of glow. I think for me, the 67 looks pretty good. Choose OK. And the Shamrock is now done. Okay, now we need to put in our text. So back to the top layer. Let's go over to the Type tool right here. There's the color. Click on the green color swatch, and then click on the yellow right down here. This is the CMYK yellow. Click on that one. Click on the swatch again. That sets that in. Now the type I'm using here is Rockwell Extra Bold Regular. You can start off with a 42 point on that, and then click any old place on your page. Doesn't matter where you click. And we're going to be typing in happy on this. There we go, and choose OK. And again, any typeface that you like is fine on this one. There's our happy. Go back to the Type tool, click down here someplace, and let's type in St. Patrick's Day. Happy St. Patrick's Day. There we go. And I'll put this one down towards the bottom, kind of overlaps the stem just a little bit. It's up to you where you want to put that. You might want it up here somewhere possibly. You know, that's a design consideration, wherever you like. I had a little lower last time. I think I'll do it a little higher up this time. We'll adjust as we go. And the reason why I have these on two layers is so that I can adjust them independently. So I can move them around and get them exactly where I want them. Okay, so a couple of lines of text. So far so good. Now I want to have that kind of nice big outline on this and a drop shadow as well inside of that outline. Now that takes 2 copies of these. So hold the Control key down, click on your second one so you have both text layers selected. Drag those up to the new layer button like that. So there's our top ones. Let's now just hide those for a moment. Come down to our bottom layers. The bottom layer have the outline and the top set have the drop shadow. And we'll do with the outline here on happy. So layer and layer style, style settings. This will be a stroke. There we go. And let's set the stroke size here to 30. And make sure this is set for outside. Again, that's a little problem that we have here with Elements 15. It may say outside to begin with, but actually is inside. It'll look like that. If it does that to you, just reset that, click outside a second time, and there we go. There's the outside. Now I want to have this as the same kind of green that I have over in here. So click on the black icon and then just choose your green outline color. You can either do this color here or you can do that color or even the bright color. It's up to you which one you want to use. Maybe I'll use the bright one on this. There's our outline. Just using that exact same color. Choose OK. So that's the basic outline. Choose OK here, and that one's done. Let's now copy this down to our St. Patrick's Day line. So right click on the name and then come down to Copy Layer Style. Go up here to St. Patrick's Day. It's the bottom of our set. Right click and then Paste Layer Style. It just duplicates that for us. So that is the outline. Now for the drop shadow inside of this, that's why we copied those two layers up here. So up here to Happy Copy, that's the top happy line, and back to our layer and then layer style and style settings. This time we're going to be doing a drop shadow, and let's set the drop shadow with a size of 7 pixels, distance of 18. There we are. And leave the opacity at 35. Just kind of a nice little light drop shadow inside of that, and choose OK. Then the same trick on this one. We're going to just make a copy of this over to here. But before we do that, I want to do one additional thing. I want to brighten up the lettering. You can do that by adding a white outline inside of the letters. I'm going to zoom in so we can see that. Here we go, to zoom in a little bit. A little hard to see what I'm doing on this one without being in type, but it shows up well on the final print. Okay, back to our Move tool. Double click where it says FX, brings the style settings back up again. Come down to Stroke and make sure you're on Inside on this one. And then we're going to be setting the stroke size at 5, and then click on the color icon and set this at white. And that's just click in here and just drag upper left hand corner like that. Let go. It should say all F's. Choose OK. It gives us a nice little white outline. So real nice, bright, happy looking type. Choose OK. We can now zoom back out again, and that's just fit on screen. Hard to see that white outline at this size, as you can see. But we'll do the same copying here. So right click on this layer, Happy Copy, Copy Layer Style, click on the top layer, that's the foreground St. Patrick's Day, right click and Paste Layer Style, and it puts all of that stuff onto that one. There we go, there's a basic card. Now you can move these around as you want to. Now if you want to move these around so everything stays together, the easy way to do that is to take the Happy Copy and drag it to the top of your stack. Take Happy, drag it right below that. So your Happies are on top and your St. Patrick's is beneath. And let's just link these layers together. So hold the Control or Shift key down, click on that so both your Happy layers are copied, or are selected rather. Click on the icon right there. Come down to one of our St. Patrick's Day, hold the Control key down, click on the second one, click on that link. So they're now linked together, which means I can then click either one of these layers and grab this and then put it anywhere I want to. Last time I had this down low. I'll bring it up a little bit higher in here like that. So you can move those around, position them as you like them. Again, it's up to you. You can also do some fun stuff. You can rotate this whole Shamrock if you want to. Let's come down to our Shamrock. Again, I linked those two together already. So if I now come outside of one of the corners here, kind of hard to see, but the icon changes there to a kind of a bent arrow. You can then grab that and rotate your Shamrock around a little bit. A little more interesting look to it, just like that. And let's come back over here to our St. Patrick's Day. Overlap that just a little bit onto that. And there we go. There is the St. Patrick's Day card. Let's just enlarge this. I'm going to pull this out and float this layer for a moment here. Pull this out further, and let's zoom in a step on that. There we go. Card at a larger size. So there it is. There is the Happy St. Patrick's Day card with the custom 3D effect in here on our graphic, with this kind of double effect here with the outline and the drop shadow on the outline, and with our interesting little effect here for that background patterning. Thank you for watching my video. I hope you found it useful. If you like this video, click on the like button below to let others know. You can click the subscribe button so you don't miss any of my videos in the future. I'm frequently uploading new training videos. Don't forget to check out my website at howtogurus.com. You can share this video with your friends and coworkers. Just click on share and then click on the social media buttons. Feel free to comment on my videos. I try to answer all comments as quickly as I can.